What's up, Exiles? We are here today with another getting started video learning Path of Exile, and today we're going to talk about the endgame mechanism, which are known as maps. The endgame farming mechanism in Path of Exile is all about entering into these randomized instances whose tile sets and aesthetics and feel are based on different zones that you've already encountered through the first 10 acts of the game. But there's a little bit of a twist on it. So we're going to look at maps. If you're coming over from Diablo 3 or from Torchlight or from Grim Dawn and you've played through Paragon levels or mapping in Torchlight or endgame grinding in Grim Dawn, then you're familiar with action RPGs. Basically, they progress through a storyline and then go into essentially an infinite grind that you can just play as long as you'd like to through randomized instances. In Path of Exile, we call this endgame mapping. So maps are the main type of endgame content in Path of Exile. By placing them in a map device, maps can be consumed to create a randomized instance in which monsters can be fought. Like equipment, they come in white normal, blue magic or yellow rare, and orange unique rarities, and have their own special affixes. Affixes on maps can make them more difficult but also increase their potential rewards. Maps can also have quality, which can be raised by using a cartographer's chisel. Map drops are not affected by party size. You've heard me mention this in other videos where your magic find rate goes up the larger your party size is, so it's much more profitable to map in a party than it is on your own. This is not true for map drops. It's true for currency, it's true for items, but it's not true for map drops. All right, players cannot use maps until they have access to the Templar Laboratory. So if you're wondering, hey, I'm in Act 6, why can't I jump into maps right now and go to endgame? Because you've got to get through the first 10 acts. You can access the Templar Laboratory in the epilogue after Act 10. They can also later be used in hideouts if the player has a personal map device offered by Zana. The map device in the Chamber of Sins, Level 1, Act 7, can also be used to open maps, which the same device was used to open a portal to Maligro's Sanctum. However, only players that had access to the Templar Laboratory can reuse the device to open the map. All right, now, a quick discussion on tiers. There are a bunch of different tiers of maps on your atlas. If you're in-game, you can hit G. That's the shortcut for opening up your atlas. If you're pre-Act 10, then your atlas is going to be empty. Whereas as you play and complete maps and complete the map bonus objectives, you will fill in your atlas, and as you fill in your atlas, you'll get percentage completion. But we'll talk more about the atlas and how to fill it out in different strategies in other videos. Today we're just going to focus on one particular technique for upgrading maps, and it's called upgrading. It's a vendor recipe that everyone has access to as soon as you have access to maps. So if a player has 3 maps of the same type, these maps may be sold to a vendor to receive 1 map in exchange. This newly acquired map is 1 tier higher and follows the Atlas map progression route, and there's a progression route described right here. Every map type can only be upgraded to 1 other map type, even if it is connected to multiple maps of the next tier of the Atlas. This vendor process works identically for shaped maps, meaning 3 shaped maps upgrade into 1 shaped map that follows the same map progression path as its unshaped counterpart. The only exception to this is a set of shaped tier 15 maps, which upgrade randomly to one of the tier 16 Guardian maps. So you see that there are different tiers here. So if you sell 3 graveyard maps to any vendor, so let's say you go to your friendly local Navali or Zana in your hideout and you sell them 3 graveyard maps, that'll return back 1 marshes map. If you sell 3 marshes map, that'll return back 3 springs map, so on and so forth. You see that there's this tech tree here where you can trade in maps in order to trade up. Now, this isn't a really efficient way to actually progress your atlas. It's a great way to fill in like spots here and there. It's not a great way to fill out your entire atlas because simply the sheer number of maps that you would need to unlock at a low level in order to get higher level maps. But because map drops increase and the level of map drops increase as you yourself progress through maps higher and higher. For instance, if you are in a tier 10 map, chances are you're going to have tiers 9 and 11 drop as opposed to having tiers 1 and 2 drop. It's just great. So we'll chat more again about strategizing that and how to maximize that as a strategy later on, but this is just a simple introduction to say, hey, you can trade at a 3-to-1 rate, and the higher up in maps you go, the better map drops you will eventually acquire. All right, there's also another video that is a great mapping tool reference guide. So if you're wondering, hey, what are the best maps out there to run? What are the best layouts? What are the best bosses to farm? What are the best maps for farming divination cards? There's a wonderful resource that I'm going to link to our video, to that resource. It's a community-built resource, so all props to the community teams that have put that together. And it's been a couple of different users that have put that together, so all props to them. But it's a wonderful resource. So if you're interested and you're pushing towards Act 10, or you're getting close to the end game, maybe you're in Act 9 and you're wondering, hey, what does Path of Exile hold next? What's at the end of Act 10? Maps await you and a whole bunch of other quest lines as well, which I'm not going to spoil anything for you here, but it's very, very exciting to see what happens as you build out your atlas and as you progress through maps. So anyway, as always, leave us a comment down below if you've got a question or you've got a suggestion for a video that you would like made, or a topic that you'd like us to chat about. You can subscribe as well for daily POE content, and as always, we'll see you out there in Ray Class Exiles.